Before I start, 7th of February, Burnt Papyrus Productions is going to be at the True Believers Comic Book Festival. I've made titles for it. Yeah, they all look really good and grand, but we're going to be there, we're going to be filming a couple of things around. You're going to be able to see for the very first time ever our new film Bounce, before it's even released on the internet. I mean, that is really the first time ever. So come along if you can, hope to see you there, and until then, here are this week's titles. I don't do an awful lot of fat jokes because actually I think they're quite derogatory, but sometimes they're all sausage roll. I don't know if you saw it, but it'll definitely be on BBC iPlayer when this video is released. Last week, Horizon had a 3-part special on dieting and why we eat what we eat and what we eat and why we're eating it and what's important to eat and all look eating and all look sausage rolls. And I found it really interesting because it's given pause to something that I've been thinking about for an awful long time now, and that when we treat people with dietal problems, is that a word? It might not be a word, it could just be a thing. When we treat people who have problems with their diet, and I'm a person who is like this, for years and years and years, we tend to have just gone, oh, well, that means you have this sort of lifestyle and you need to change everything to have this sort of lifestyle, and you've got to do it all at once and then everything will be fine. You'll be perfectly happy, and you're not. In fact, many people go on diets that cannot be sustained because instead of changing their life, instead of doing something that's going to make them better and fitter and healthier, they try and do too much at once and they just don't stick to it. This is a problem I've had for a very, very long time. But the Horizon programme that was on was really, really interesting because it's used latest research to determine the type of eaters that people are. They say it falls into 3 distinct categories. There are people who are emotional eaters. Now, for a long time in my life, I've been an emotional eater. I was suffering from depression for a while. Eating was one of the things that I used in order to try and change my mood. And you can understand why, because it works. But even though it works, doesn't actually make it any better for you. You know, in fact, if anything, it's just the exact opposite. Because you try and deal with everything by eating, and that just doesn't work. So for years, I know that I've done this. But what also came out of the, and there's a little test that you can do online on the Horizon programme, what also came out of that was that I was 68% something called a constant craver. Now, dieting shows and programmes in the past, whenever they've talked about the type of diets that you should go on, or the how to be a dieter or whatever it is, they've always considered that it's just it's just a mental thing. It's just, you know, you've got to have the right attitude and do the right things, and then you'll be on a diet and you'll be fine. What research is showing now is that there are 2 other possible explanations for this. You could be somebody who, when they start eating, never sort of feels hungry, never fills up. And that's because of certain discrepancies in your gut flora and fauna. I don't mean you've got Bambi running around inside your stomach. Basically, there are little plants and animals that live inside our gut. They're really tiny microbiotic things. And when we were doing the TED Talks, there was a talk about this, and it was just fascinating. But one of the things they're saying is that the signals that these gut bacteria send up to your brain to say you've had enough to eat, they don't work in certain people. There's a real medical reason why some people just start eating and then they can't stop. The other area is these constant cravings, and I've been one of these for a very long time. If I eat something, 10 minutes later, I won't be satisfied anymore, and I'll feel that I want to eat something else. The reason for this, mentioned in the programme, was that certain people have certain genes that disrupt the signals going to our brain that says you're full and you're satisfied and you don't need to do anything else. And this means that we are constantly hungry. And it's definitely something that I've experienced myself, this sort of constant gnawing hunger. The programme was really, really interesting, and it brought a few things into sharp relief for me. Firstly, I've been doing it all wrong, because I've tried individual diets and it hasn't really been focused on my personal makeup. The thing that's going to make me diet more than I should, or lose weight the way that I should, is going to be the thing that fits with my body chemistry the best. Interestingly enough, It happens to be an intermittent diet, or a 5-2 diet like I was trying before. I gave that up. I was depressed. Food was helping. It didn't work. But I'm not depressed anymore! Not sure that's an appropriate thing to do. Feeling a bit worried. Can't seem to put my arms down. So now by watching this and by paying attention to some of the things on there, I've now got a raft of different tools that I can use in order to try and get myself slim. Which isn't really the reason to do this. I think it's probably a silly idea to do anything and think that you're going to get a particular outcome out of it, especially when it comes to sort of life-changing experiences. I think what I'm going to have to do, and I think it's probably the best thing that anybody could do, is just say, look, right now, I'm going to try this thing. And I'm going to try and make it a habit. And I'm going to try and make it change my life. I don't know whether it will, I don't know whether it won't. But I'm going to give it a go. Because the possibility is that it's going to make my life better. So ostensibly I'm going on a new diet. This won't really mean much to most people who are around me because I can basically eat what I want when I want. In this last year, I've given up crisps and I've given up chocolate and I've now given up fast food. I've gone off on a bit of a tangent. I don't quite know where I am. The basic thing that I wanted to get across to people is have a look at this thing. There is a quiz on there that you can take if you're overweight like me. I've been overweight for a long time. It might do some good. I don't know, but it's worth a try. That's my opinion. Anyway, let me know yours by leaving a comment below or contacting me on Twitter at Steve_Mellor or at Burnt Papyrus. I'm getting better at saying this, aren't I, occasionally? Or you can contact us on Facebook /Burnt Papyrus. But comment on the video. I like comments on the video.